Okay, good morning, everybody. It is time for Chatting with Chap. And look, Ro and I are together again this week. So glad to be together because we are doing a special episode for Giving Tuesday. So I'm sure you guys have heard about Giving Tuesday. I'm sure you've seen it in your email box, your inbox. So we're going to talk with you about some really cool things going on with CHAP and resources and things that we have. So we're very glad that you tuned in with us today. And I know if you've been watching our feed this morning, you've already seen me on talking about one of our grant recipients who sent a thank you note to us. And later on, I will be talking with Steve Demi from Matthew C because we are co-hosting an event this February that you're not going to want to miss. And then later on today, I'll be back on. And this evening, I'll be on with my husband, Steve, who is the president of the board, chairman of the board for CHAP. So anyway, thank you so much for tuning in with us again today. And let's get started. So you want to take us along, Ro?
Sure thing. Hey, everyone. I'm so glad to be back with you and especially excited about this Given Tuesday episode. So, Ginger, can you talk more about Given Tuesday? Like, so far, what I love about Given Tuesday, for those who don't know what it is, it's really a day that we set aside for charitable donations. So, a lot of philanthropists or individuals just like you will donate to organizations that you love, organizations that have been helping you, supporting your journey, or just organizations that are doing great things in the world and you kind of want to link arms with them, right? So that's what Giving Tuesday is. And what I think is great about it is that it's a response to this overly commercialized holiday period, right? So we have the Black Friday, the Cyber Monday, all the things where you just spending, sometimes frivolously, sometimes strategically, waiting for something to go on sale. But it's really, how can I use my finances for good? How can I use my finances for great things? So, Ginger, I'd love for you to talk about Giving Tuesday from like a kingdom standpoint and what the biblical implication of Giving Tuesday is.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So, there's various places in scripture where we read about, some people use the word tithing, and tithing comes with this whole big thing, right? And what does that mean?
Controversy.
Yeah, exactly. So, the big thing that I think about is Abraham, and he tithed to Melchizedek, and he met him out there in the desert and doing the thing and stuff. But, we also talk about, well, the negative side is, all the Pharisees and they tithed even their spices, but their hearts weren't clean. So it's not a way to like earn something, right? You earn in good with God by tithing or giving a certain amount of money. It's about the heart and your happiness to give back to God because what he's given to you. I think about Abel, the whole thing with Cain and Abel, and they
Yeah.
gave first fruits, I think. But Abel's was acceptable and Cain's was not. And it doesn't explain why, it doesn't explain that, but I think it definitely has to do with the heart. And
Mm-hmm.
God has given to me, so I am going to give back and he's going to use it. So many of us are giving to our local churches, to support our pastors or what's going on, the ministries that are going on in our churches. But obviously there's many ministries out there that are kingdom focused. So, pregnancy center things or pro-life things, or the folks that are helping sex traffickers come back into regular life and stuff like these are all, and there's tons of different things. I think of Alliance Defending Freedom, any of those types of things that are kingdom building things. But CHAP is also a kingdom building organization. Our purpose, if you don't know, is to raise the next generation to follow Christ in all of life, the next generations. I think there's actually an S on that because
Yeah.
it's not just our kids, it's our kids and their kids, it's grandparents doing it and the whole thing. So there's a mandate for us as parents to raise our children up in the training and admonition of the Lord, right? We're supposed to train them in the way they should go. So what CHAP does through home education is equip and empower those parents to do Christian education, to raise the children up. So we're kingdom building, having our kids home, and not only academic training, but the character. And actually that character is the more important part. So the implications there is at least through giving to an organization like CHAP, is that you are helping other families to do that biblical mandate, to bring their children up in the way they should go. And I think about the scripture. My husband and I talk about this a lot, about being a cheerful giver. It's not
Yeah.
under compulsion. It's not, well, I got to do this thing. And if I don't, well, then I'll be in trouble, or I'm a bad Christian or whatever. It's not that. It is you're giving out of what you can. And I know times are hard now. It's not an easy season that we're in as a country economically, but what you can share, what God has laid on your heart to share, and with whom you should share it, is something that God will lead you to do. So, that's what we're looking at the biblical implication. And obviously, as it impacts organizations like ours, nonprofits, it enables us to keep doing what we're doing. And we're
Yeah.
going to talk a little bit later about the resources that CHAP has that are helping and enriching the lives of homeschoolers in not only Pennsylvania, but other states also, and around the world. Yeah, so I guess I lost my train of thought there, but does that
No, you
does that
completely no, you completely answered the question, and you shared so much valuable information. So like the last point you made about, CHAP not just being Pennsylvania, I'm a Jersey girl and I have richly been blessed by CHAP and continue to be blessed
Great.
by CHAP. So what I also love about CHAP is the practicality of how you operate. So it's not just, hey, we want people to homeschool. Here's a website. It's
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you resources. I'm going to give you the law, which in Pennsylvania is so much more complex than say Jersey or Texas, right?
Yeah.
So you're holding people's hands and giving them when you say equipped, it's not just here's a paperwork to fill out, it's the mindset shift, the spiritual guidance, and all the things that it really takes to do it, right? Because homeschooling is not just paper and pen. It's a hard thing. It's commitment, all of that. So I love that CHAP is doing that. Some of the other resources, before I even get to more resources, I think one thing that I love about Giving Tuesday is that when I think about tithing, I don't always think about finances only. I think about tithing my time, tithing my talent, right? And the labor of love that you've had for CHAP, like you're on, this is like episode 2, almost 230, right?
Yeah,
so
this is 230 actually.
This is 230. So 230 episodes of this is a labor of love. So when I think of Giving Tuesday, I think of how can we be intentional about showing up? Because as we go about our busy lives, we're not thinking about how CHAP is creating an impact in the world, but this is really a time to sit back and reflect and say, who are the players? Who are the major players who have been so critical and so fundamental in the journey of other people's lives in the kingdom building, right? So I love CHAP for that.
Thank you.
But I do want you to share more resources though. Like tell us all the things, because you talked about a quick snippet, but for those who are new or who are just finding about CHAP, what are all the other amazing things that you're doing?
Okay, so I might not share all of them because there are actually quite a few, but I will clue you into the big things that will get you to the other things. But so chaponline.com obviously is our website. So CHAPONLINE. I can spell that so fast because I've said it for many years in the headers from our speakers. Our speaker headers from the convention. But there we have all the information about us, resources that we have. The resources tab, that is a huge plethora of things that will just plug you into lists of support groups and mentors and evaluators and where you can find Chattin with CHAP show and all those types of things. We also have homeschoolpennsylvania.org. And what homeschoolpennsylvania.org does is it's actually a law database. So we used to have a notebook, and in my old Chat with Chaps, you will hear Dee and I talking about the keys to homeschooling. And it used to be a spiral bound book that you could buy. Well, when the law started changing and started to get outdated, we decided to put it online. So now it's homeschoolpennsylvania.org, and all the things are there. All your forms, there's videos to explain everything. There's the actual law itself. You can read it. So that's one of our big things. You want to check that out. We do have a 14-day starter course called Homeschool University that is in conjunction with other homeschool organizations throughout the nation. If you were unaware, there's actually almost a Christian homeschool organization in almost every single state. And so we get together and support each other through different things. And that was one of the things we've done together. Obviously, we're on Facebook because here you are. We're also on Instagram. We're on YouTube. If you look on YouTube, you can find us by typing in CHAP Homeschool Pennsylvania. It's kind of like everything is smushed together. And we are on Apple Podcasts and Google and Spotify. Chattin with CHAP is where you can find us there. So all those types of media related things. We've got paper stuff, like we have paper booklets of the law. We've got pamphlets about us that you can give to pastors or educators or parents or whatever, things that we have with our information on it, so people know to reach out to us to get the resources that they need. So that's, I mean, that's like the top level. It's not explaining all the things that are on all of those things, but we also, one of the big things I wanted to make sure to mention is we have one of our board members reads the bills that go through Pennsylvania, and makes us aware of anything that we might need to either be in discussion with HSLDA about, or alert our uh, homeschool folks, our homeschool families, all the people that we know that we need to be writing into Harrisburg or talking to Harrisburg about things. So I know that doesn't necessarily touch those of you who are not in Pennsylvania, but those of you who are in stricter states will understand if they start talking about things, you make sure to get on top of it, because you don't want to, it to clamp down any further than what it already is. And anybody, anywhere. I mean, everybody, those of you who are out there in states that are completely open and free, Jersey is amazing. I mean, if you know that anything is happening there, you want to get on that right away, because you definitely don't want to lose that freedom. But that's something else that we're doing too, just to make sure that we are keeping homeschooling moving along. So, yeah.
And I'll even share how I found out about CHAP. Like, if you're like me, when you're starting something new, you want to know all the things that exist, and you probably sign up for too many things, and you're getting all these emails, have no idea how you got on someone's email list. But I received a newsletter once, and it said, there's an organization called CHAP, and they're having a conference in Pennsylvania. And I have been looking for resources in New Jersey, and unfortunately, there are not that many, right? So you can find online resources, but in terms of conferences, I was searching and they didn't have anything coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So when this popped into my inbox, I forwarded it to my friend, and I was like, hey, there's a conference happening 2.5 hours ago, 2.5 hours away. Let's go. And like I shared on a previous podcast episode, 5 kids later, we all huddled up in the car, her 2 girls, my 3 boys, and we drove down to York and we attended CHAP. And everything Ginger is shared in terms of the resources and wanting to encourage people, wanting to equip people. When I say CHAP conference did not disappoint, I mean it from the bottom of my heart.
Aww.
Like, I walked away with so many resources physically, so tangible and intangibly.
Mm-hmm.
There's this amazing used curriculum book sale. So you go and you get all these things for a fraction of the cost. And then even later on, you can get it for, much cheaper or free. And what's really good is a lot of times when you're trying to get something, you may not want to purchase everything and then return the ones that don't work. So just being able to flick through, seeing something,
Yes.
touching something, talking to people, having that connection, that was really helpful. But back to the conference itself, there was a track for everything you can think of, everything you needed, and things you didn't even know you needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything from the importance of the Bible in your homeschool curriculum, to remembering your why, to the practical things of what are the 5 things you need? How do you create a mission? How do you create this?
Mm-hmm.
All the different topics, they were covered. And then outside of the practical things was the mindset and the encouragement. And the great things that they had pioneers and trailblazers in the field, moms who have graduated their children, people like Ginger who have a mixed bunch where she's graduated some and then she has the young ones, so she's still in the trenches, and then she's the older ones, right? So it's beautiful to hear from the pioneers and the trailblazers and the veterans, and also the people who are still in it, so they haven't forgotten about what it is to be in the weeds. So another thing I really liked, which you don't see at a lot of conferences, whether homeschool or not, is the number of male presenters they had. So Ginger talks about having Steve Demi on later. He was one of the presenters, and he didn't only talk about math. He talked about faith and fatherhood and all the things, right? So like, it's not just for moms. There was something for everyone. I took my kids there, and they sat quietly and they did what they had to do. But it was so amazing just to have a community of people and then look up and say, oh, I guess I'm not the only one doing this, because these are a lot of people.
Yes. Yes, that was one of the things that when Steve and I started, oh my goodness, we started going when Joel was 3. Our oldest was 3, because like you, we wanted to know all the things, and we wanted to be well prepared and have time to process what we wanted to do before we had to make decisions.
Right.
So, I mean, Joel's 21, so that's 17 years ago. And it was the same thing. Like, you go in there and you're like, I'm not the only one. There are other people doing this. And then just by seeing what the topics are, again, you're saying, I'm not the only one.
Yes.
There's other people with these questions, and other people who, And the reason I'm doing some of those talks that I'm doing now is because back in the day, I needed those talks,
Yeah.
and so 17 years later, I have a little bit of knowledge and experience, so I can hopefully help others and share what I've gone through, and help them to understand this whole homeschool thing.
Yeah.
Which the word school, it would be so great if it was home education or home learning and it didn't get school stuck in there, but everybody is
Agreed.
so used to the school. It's just not a good term for the whole process of what we're doing here at home. But
I agree.
that's a little side note about
I
that. But
do agree
yeah, so
wholeheartedly.
yeah, convention has been an amazing help to us. And I was so glad last year to see just so many new families. You could tell they were new and they were coming in, and they found us somehow. It was just amazing. I don't know. It was just very encouraging. So,
Yeah, and I don't know how I managed to do this, but I met a lot of Jersey people just being there. So one, it shows that there's a need, that I'm not just the
yeah,
only person who decided to drive 2.5 hours for this
yeah.
conference, but that other people in New Jersey were saying, thank you for doing this, because I thought it was so important that I, also grabbed my
Same.
entire family and
Hmm.
drove down for the weekend. So it definitely shows that there is a need and that you're fulfilling that need. So I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, well, and you think about the folks in Pittsburgh, they drive further than you do because
I know.
they're driving 4 hours. So
Yeah,
kudos to anyone on the western half of the state. Pennsylvania is not a tiny place.
it is not. Yeah.
So yeah, it's and I know plenty of moms that it's the girls' weekend and they do the whole thing and they come together, and I mean you can handle it in so many different ways. Um, my husband and I always did it as a marriage thing, a date thing, and
Uh,
so there, yeah, whole family comes. There's other people who bring their whole family, and it's so many different ways that you can approach convention. So that's always been really great. So
agreed.
yeah. So I guess let's see here. Are we going to share some testimonials?
Ooh,
Where
sure
we're at
thing.
with what we're doing. So one of the things we wanted to share with you folks out there today on Giving Tuesday is, what do people have to say about CHAP? Has it, we come on and we love CHAP. We're volunteering for CHAP. So obviously we're here, but what have some other folks had to say about CHAP? And this year, and if you've been watching my show for any amount of time, you know that I put out a call for testimonials because I'm going to share them. And so that's what we're going to do right now. Obviously, I read one earlier about the grant, the foundation grant, and I'll be talking about the foundation a little bit later. So anyway, so let's get into some stories. I'm going to start with one from, she's a friend of mine actually now, Denise, but when she wrote this or when she encountered us, she was not my friend, but she has since helped me start the mentor network with CHAP that you will
Mhm.
find on the resources tab. Uh, but yes, I'm going to read, and I have to put on my spectacles so I can read well. But this is what Denise has to say about CHAP. Although I was initially unsure about whether I would completely provide home education to our children, notice she said education. I no longer feel that way thanks to all of the incredible CHAP leaders and resources. Our family shifted to home education amidst the 2020 rush to homeschooling, yet I didn't quite feel prepared to really maximize our children's learning at that time. Thankfully, the Chat with Chat podcast was a game changer for me. I spent hours listening to episodes and soaked up all of the resources and helpful information that Ginger and Denise shared about. As a result, I shifted my mindset from I'm not sure if I can do this to we're doing this, we're doing it well, and our children will be blessed as a result of it. We've never looked back, and we thank God daily for the blessing of home education, the extra time with our precious children, and the CHAP resources. May God bless CHAP and the leaders and volunteers who so generously share their wisdom so we can all be encouraged as we completely and confidently provide the most outstanding education to our children. So
I
that was
love it.
isn't that awesome? Denise is and she's encouraging too. She's like you, she's a very encouraging person. So it's wonderful. You always walk away from a conversation with Denise feeling, okay, good. Yeah, this is awesome.
Uh,
So yeah,
that's
it's
so
great.
great. And I feel like that resonates deeply with so many people. That mindset shift from, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Am I crazy? I can't do this, to, oh,
Mm-hmm.
not only am I doing it, but I'm actually doing it pretty well,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think she also kind of echoed some of my thoughts too, in terms of like, when I'm blessed by something, even though I'm only 2 seconds into the journey, like I don't have 17 years under my belt, but I'm still 2 seconds further than someone else. So I
Yes.
just feel like
Yes. Yes.
chronicling and documenting, and the reason that we're doing this is so that we can get those testimonials. So someone can say, it was so isolated, but then I found CHAP. I had no idea what to do, but then I found Ginger. Like this is why this is done.
Mhm.
So I'm going to read one from Linda and Greg,
Okay.
and stick with me. It's a little bit long. So CHAP was our greatest source of information and encouragement over our 29 years of
Yeah.
homeschooling. We
Woo.
started in 1986 with kindergarten for our first daughter. She wanted to go to school for first grade, and since we did not know any other homeschoolers in that area, we sent her to a private school. In 1990, when our son was ready for school, we started homeschooling him and brought our daughter home. We attended our first CHAP conference in 1989 at Elizabethtown College. I think it was the next year that it moved to the Farm Show complex. The conference was one of the highlights of the year. We attended every year and were taught from the speakers on how to raise godly children, as neither of us came from a Christian family background.
Mhm.
There were a great deal fewer vendors at curriculum at that time, but it's helpful to browse what was available. Every year, we look forward to receiving encouragement by speakers such as Elizabeth Elliott, Larry Burkett, Bodhi Basham, Denny Keniston, and S.M. Davis. We could hardly wait to become better acquainted with curriculum, meeting other families, and purchasing new and used materials. After a while, CHAP included sessions for children or families and teens attended. Our youngest graduated in 2018. My husband was also a vendor in later years as he's a teacher with Ignite Christian Academy, formerly Alpha Omega Academy. We
Mhm.
credit CHAP with putting us on our positive spiritual journey, teaching our family Christian principles and godly family living. Of our 15 grandchildren, all that we all that are school age are currently being homeschooled or in a Christian school where their parents teach. We're most thankful that God used CHAP in our lives to further our own spiritual growth and start a family legacy of faithfulness to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Thank you for being an instrument in the Master's hand. And I love that CHAP not only helped with home-centered education, but brought them to Christ too. Like, how beautiful is that?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
kingdom.
Yeah. So like when we talk a little bit later about the foundation, no, oh maybe no, the scholarship. The scholarship
Mhm.
is Lee A. Genesevich scholarship. She came to Christ because of the CHAP convention too, and then she just blessed the socks off of all the people around her.
Mhm.
So there have been so many amazing stories like that that have happened, and what sticks out to me from their testimony is because it's so much like mine is we Steve and I was a Christian. Steve was not, but we came in this. I was a new recommitted Christian a few years before we had our children. And the church that I grew up in did not do training, life training, skill, like how to live a biblical Christ-centered life. That's not the church I grew up in. Um, and we learned so much at convention because of all those speakers um, who taught biblical parenting, taught biblical training, and talked a lot about that being the foundation and the reason for homeschooling. So like, yeah, what their testimony there, that is so much a part of mine too. It was just huge. And homeschooling for me, it's done as much for me as it's done for my children, really.
Oh yes. We're not only redeeming our education, but we're seeing our weak spots, seeing where we need to incorporate the fruits of the spirit, seeing where God needs to work on us. It's a mirror. It's
Yes.
growth for everyone, growth and learning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, that was really encouraging. In 29 years, woo, woo. I don't know that I'm gonna make it to 29. I have to count up my years. I might be pretty close when all's said and done. But that's so funny. So we had Emily write in, she wrote in and asked some questions at the staff email, staff@chaponline.com, which any of you can write into if you have a question. And I was back and forth with her a little bit, supplying some um, help for her, and she just responded with such beautiful thanks once. And I said, hey, do you mind if can you put up a testimony, put together a testimony that I can share, about your experience? And she's like, absolutely. So I'll read a little bit here about what she said. It says, with the holiday season approaching, it's important to think about how we can help others. Whoops. As a former classroom teacher, I was very excited yet nervous about beginning my homeschooling journey. Myself and my family knew homeschooling was the best choice for my daughter, yet I was unsure where to begin as a first-time homeschool mother. Also, my daughter had an IEP, so that was also something I was unsure about with homeschooling. One day I looked up homeschooling in Pennsylvania with an IEP just to get some information. That is when I found CHAP. I decided to send them an email with my questions and concerns. I'm sure happy I did this. Ginger from CHAP responded to me. She answered all my questions, offered much guidance and support, as well as kindness. I reached out to her many times, and she's always so kind and helpful to me. Fast forward to 1 year later, and we are enjoying every minute of homeschooling. Yay! My daughter loves learning new things every day, and I love being her teacher. Ginger and Chap have been a blessing to my family. I'm so very thankful for them and will never forget their kindness. So, yeah, and that was, I remember, because I don't have any kids with IEPs, so that was something, you kind of have to sometimes look up information or get some support or help and how to encourage people in that. And I think parents out there who have children who struggle or have IEPs are maybe a little more concerned about starting the home education journey for that reason. But honestly, I've heard so many different stories, and just again, having your children at home and being able to walk with them through their struggles and teaching them at their pace, at
Yeah.
their ability level is so beautiful. So it's so awesome that Emily found the help she needed to do that. So that was
And
really cool.
kudos to you, Ginger. Like one of the themes that I saw from Emily's testimony was this theme of kindness. So it's one thing for you to write back and be like, here's a link to how to do it. Here's a link for, right? Like just shooting information out. But I feel like that compassion and kindness and empathy that spoke through your black and white email, that was so
Hard to do,
heartwarming for
yeah.
her,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful that you're showing your Christianity, showing your kindness, showing, your heart after God or your heart after Jesus. So that brings people to CHAP too, right? It's not just the black and white and the laws and the
Mhm.
how to, but look at this person. They're
Yeah.
walking the talk, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Definitely.
beautiful.
Definitely hoping to do that. I confess my attitude isn't always the best, but I
Well, we're a
wait.
work in progress, and homeschooling is one of the ways that we get to work on that.
Yes. Yes.
So here's what Tammy Barber wrote in and said: I cannot express how grateful I am for your advice last week. It was an answer to prayer. I hit a wall and truly believe I was going to have to put her daughter back in her old school. Since taking your suggestions, it has been amazing to see what we've been able to accomplish in just a short amount of time. And it has given me peace about math. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And oh my goodness, I'm so grateful for all the wonderful info and really appreciate the time you spent collecting it. I'm so excited to see what fits us best. I'm so glad I found you. You have absolutely been a godsend. I've had a rejuvenated spirit for homeschool again, thanks to you.
So what was really cool about that is she had written in for some math help and some English help. And we have a mentor network, if I didn't mention it before. So I wrote to all my mentors and said, hey, ladies, and some of you who write into us for help, the mentors are who respond to you because I have kids to homeschool too. So I can't respond to everybody, but I reach out to the mentors and say, hey guys, so I did, and give me some suggestions, ladies. So they wrote back, and that's what she was mentioning with the collecting. So yeah, and sometimes with curriculum, I don't like giving curriculum suggestions. It's just me because
Mm-hmm.
everybody's different and everyone
Absolutely.
functions differently, and what works for me might be awful for you. So I'm kind of careful with that type of thing, but I do like pooling, the mentors and those that I know who have experience with IEPs or anything like that. So I can share with others, just kind of trying to connect them, because there's other people out there
Yeah.
who are looking for the same information. So that was our testimonials. Thank you, Ro, for reading. It was fun to hear those things, and it is encouraging because sometimes on this end, you kind of, is anyone out there? Knock, knock, knock.
Right.
Is anyone
Yeah.
listening? So thank you very much to all of you who have written in, because you have rejuvenated our spirit and have made us ready for the year ahead, to
Yeah.
keep sharing with you and encouraging you on your homeschool journey. So, Ro, why did you reach out to us to become involved? We talked about testimonials, you talked about convention and how you enjoyed that. So what made you actually go the next step and saying, hey, can I be involved somehow? How did that come about?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in paying it forward and reciprocity because I received so much from CHAP in such a short time. I'm like, who else can benefit from this? How can I further the vision? How can I just give my 2 cents or my 2 hours or my, whatever I have? How can I do that? Because when I think of the body of Christ, I think of us as all different parts.
Yeah,
So for Ginger to be the eyes and the ears and the mouth and the this and the this and all the things, if I could do one thing,
one
that just
part.
means you have to do one thing less, then I think, we're furthering the mission of Christ and I think back to kingdom. So it's really this idea of paying it forward. And then, like I shared earlier about like tithing my time and my talent, there's certain things that I excel at when it comes to like administration and organization. And if I can help in that way, then I'm like, I'm open to doing this. So with any type of whatever I've learned, I want to help other people, right? So again, when I think of an expert, I don't think of someone who has like 2 million years of 2 million hours. I just think of someone who knows one thing more than you do, right? So the next person right behind me who has no idea what homeschooling is, I'm an expert, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And then when I
exactly.
think of you, you have 17 years in the game. You have children of different ages, and then I can come to you for support. So how can I help other people? So
Hmm.
it's really this shared and link in arms instead of operating in a silo and saying, okay, I'm going to go build
Yeah, yeah.
the same thing. Let's all move in the same direction and just, synergy and move together. So that's really why I wanted to be a part. And I just love how God worked this out because initially I reached out for being a part of the board, and I'm like, I know I'm a Jersey girl, but would you consider me helping, giving some opinions, some suggestions on how to move forward? And look at what blossomed. Like we're here recording, talking about this journey, talking about how to support God's people and just ultimately build the kingdom of God.
Yes, yes, that's so awesome. I love how you're saying it's exactly what I've been telling people. If you've been homeschooling for even a year, you know more than the person who's just getting started.
Absolutely.
And so many people need to have that courage to be like, I can help someone else. I
Yeah,
think we as moms especially get so concerned about doing it right and not messing up and making
hmm
our kids get all the things that we forget that we do know something
yeah,
that someone else doesn't and we can help someone. So I love that. And I hope that's an encouragement to all of you out there to reach out to someone who, kind of looks like deer in the headlights, like, oh my goodness. Because you have something to share. If you've been doing this for any amount of time, something has worked for you, something has not worked
absolutely.
for you, right?
Right.
Stuff has happened in your house that's been great, and stuff has happened in your house that has not been great. So,
And we need both perspectives. Like, I don't want to just hear like the pretty pinned up because then you're going to feel
oh,
like you're not enough or you're ill equipped. But then when someone
yes,
does say, um,
the real,
yeah,
right?
the real
The
raw
real.
authentic, you're like, oh, so I'm not alone. And
Yeah,
then you feel
exactly.
encouraged.
Yes, yes. I've done shows on that before too. Invite people into your messy house. That's
Ooh, that's a
Don't
good
clean your
one.
house. Don't
That's a
clean your
good one.
house.
Right, because they leave like, how does she do it all? And you're like, I don't. I just threw it in the closet before you came. Like
Well, don't put your
authenticity
coat
and
there.
transparency.
Don't use it. Just lay your coat on the sofa. Really, that's okay. Don't go touch
That's
that
funny.
doorknob. It's like bulging.
I know. I've had my eyes peeled waiting for the announcement of the 2024 CHAP convention. I cannot wait to hear more about that.
So, if you did you see it? Did you see it on Facebook?
Tell us, Ginger.
Tell you,
Spill the beans.
okay. Okay. So it was so funny because when you're reading about the Burns's testimony and it mentioned being at Elizabethtown College, guess what? We're back at Elizabethtown College this year. And I'm very excited because I mean my husband works there, but they have really nice facilities.
hmm
So, in the past few years, we're in farm show type places, and it's great. They've been wonderful to work with. It's been wonderful. Last year was frustrating with the sound.
Yeah.
So we're really excited to be at Elizabethtown College this year. It's closed for us. But so yes, June 13th through 15th, 2024. And you might notice that that's 3 days, not two. We're cooking some things, but we're not revealing what's going on yet for the 13th.
Secrets.
But yes, it is secret. Our standard convention will be happening on the 14th and 15th, the Friday and the Saturday, where we have the vendor hall and the speakers and all the things. And then we're going to be doing some hopefully different things on Thursday that we will tune you into later. But I wanted to warn everybody, make sure you keep that
Mhm.
Thursday open too. My husband was reluctant to let people know, but I was like, you gotta tell them. So they cross, make the thing on their calendar. They cross off the calendar so nothing else gets planned that day. So he said, okay, you can tell them, but don't tell them what we're doing.
Good. That's fair.
So we're building that's excitement. We're building excitement for what's going on because it's going to be fun. It's going to be good. We're really excited about it. Yeah, I just do you have any questions, anything maybe that I didn't share about that I should? I'm excited.
I think we're good. Let's keep it a little mystery, but please mark the dates, June 13th through the
Yes.
15th, 2024. But Ginger, you have to tell us, back to Giving Tuesday, what are
Yes.
you asking for? Like, what does this donation look like? Can it be a one-time donation? Can it be monthly, recurring? What does that look like? How do we
Yeah,
do it?
so
Where do we go?
we have all the options. I have it written down somewhere. But actually, oh, no, it's right here in front of me. Okay. So yeah, it can be one-time donation. You can set up recurring donations to CHAP and stuff like that. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about your options when you donate. So chaponline.com/donate. If you go to chaponline.com, you can find donate right there on the main page. We have three funds. Let me tell you about our three funds. We have the CHAP Foundation. You might have heard about this. Well, you definitely heard about it if you saw my earlier video where I read about the thank you note from the grant recipient. So the CHAP Foundation's purpose is totally to help out the people who are struggling to continue homeschooling financially because something happened. They've got medical needs. They've got a fire, a flood, any of those crazy weird things that happen and you're like, oh my word, we had to put all of our money into this and now we can't afford books or whatever it is. So that has been going on for I don't know, years now. We've had the CHAP Foundation. So and we do receive requests every year frequently. And so if you want to support other homeschoolers or finding themselves in a really difficult situation, the CHAP Foundation is where you want to go for that. The one of the other options is the scholarship. So I mentioned earlier the Leah Janisevich Scholarship is we give two scholarships out to graduating seniors. So this is a traditionally homeschooled student. They're not going to private school or something like that. You're graduating from high school and you're doing something moving forward, whether it's technical school or college or trade school or whatever it is. But so we give $1,000 and a $500 scholarship out to two recipients every year at convention, and it's really kind of fun because we give them the big check. You get the big check and get your picture with Steve, and it's kind of fun. Yeah, it's kind of a fun thing. So we make it a big deal for the recipients. So it's their day.
Yeah.
Their day to be special and up there. So yeah, so that's one of the funds that you can give to. And the last one is what we call our Freedom Fund. The Freedom Fund is all the other things. So we're talking convention and all the other ways we reach out. If we need to print off law booklets or pamphlets so we can hand them out to people so they can have the information they need for their small groups or their support groups or their
Mhm.
pastors or the legislative offices that are near to you or anything or any of those other things that you see at the convention table, the chapsticks and the pens and the sticky notes and the tablets and stuff like that, or our fees just for functioning. So that Freedom Fund covers all the other expenses that we incur throughout the year as we continue to do the things that we're doing to support you right now, like Zoom and things like that are always there that we need to take care of so we can keep doing what we're doing. So one of the things that we're really excited about, and we're trying to get this formulated yet, but I wanted to put it out there so you guys are aware of it. We want to make it possible for you guys to sponsor like a swag, I call it a swag bag, or sponsor different things. So you give X dollars, and what that's going to do is print out this many law booklets to hand out at your support group, or you do a swag bag for pastors, where it's all this equipment and you can, so we haven't worked that all out yet. It's still in the thinking process, but we're moving forward to give you guys something specific. Oh, I want to support a swag bag for
Mhm.
or for your own co-op. Hey, I need 50 of everything here. I'm going to donate for this. And then, we ship things to you. So those types of things. We just want to get the word out. We've
Yeah.
created new pamphlets and just there's talk about encouraging pastors to encourage schools or co-ops in their churches, and pastors are kind of like, I don't even know where to start with homeschooling, and
Yeah.
just to have our pamphlet that says reach out to CHAP, contact us, we have the information, you don't need to know anything,
Yeah.
just point, we'll support you and point people to us. So those are the ways, those are the different funds that you can donate to. Obviously, now you can start now up until
Yeah.
whenever you can get started. We're looking particularly right now, I guess, to collect up funds for convention, to be doing convention and be prepared for those swag. Maybe we'll have swag bags available at convention that you can pick up at convention to take with you
Yeah.
and disperse where you are. I know Denise, whose story I read earlier, she always keeps something in her purse, whether it's a pamphlet or something that where she can just come pull it out and give it to someone and be like, here. So
Yeah.
she's like one of those ultra prepared, got it right here. It's always right on my side to share with people. So that's always encouraging and exciting to hear too. Yeah.
I want to read something. As you were talking about the three different ways to support, it made me think of a scripture, and I didn't know what it was. So I had to Google it real quick. So James 2:15 says, if a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, so basically, suppose a brother or sister is without clothes or without daily food, if one of you says to them, go in peace, keep warm, and be well fed, but does nothing about their physical need, what good is it? The King James says, and one of you say unto them, depart in peace, be warmed and filled, notwithstanding you gave them not those things which are needful to the body, what doth it profit? And the reason that scripture came to mind as Ginger was talking is because it's the practical piece of it, right? So we talked about the practical hand holding in terms of here's what the law says, here's what this means for you, here's how to do it with a special needs child, here's how to do it with multiple children. We talked about that. We talked about the mindset, the accountability, the resources, all of that. But now they're getting to the nitty gritty of, yes, homeschooling is amazing, which typically means for most families, one income, someone either quitting their job or continuing not to work. That's typically what it means for most families. And they're saying, if this is the only thing that's standing between you and doing what you think God has called you to be, here's the money. Now you have no excuses. How beautiful is that?
Yeah.
How beautiful is that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's wonderful. And I will be reading another grant recipient message later this afternoon. And it's just, we are like back and forth and talking with these people. So what's going on? Talk to us,
Yeah.
and we pray for them. And it's just, it's awesome. It's awesome to
Yeah.
hear that someone continues, their heart is to do it. And it's just possible, it's
Yeah.
so, how sad for them to not be able to continue doing that, so that has been such a blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anyone's on the fence, if you're on the fence about should I give, CHAP makes things possible. And if you want to make things possible for other families and you don't have the time to do it yourself, just donate to the people who are already doing it. Tell us again, where can we find the donate button?
Okay, so chaponline.com, right there on the menu bar, you'll see donut, donate.
Someone's hungry.
Or I know, goodness, I didn't eat lunch. So, or you can just type in chaponline.com/donate. So my screen is so funny. I'm a finger talker. So I'm sitting here typing. You can't see me when I'm talking. Anyway.
Like, awesome. Perfect.
Yes.
Any final
So,
thoughts, Ginger?
Ro, do you know our phone number? Do you have any of that information? I can share it if you don't know it, like how to reach out with us.
Go
We do
ahead.
have
Tell them
a
where to
phone,
find it.
we do have a phone number, believe it or not. It is 717-838-0980.
Yes.
So yeah, we do still have a phone number you can call if you prefer to talk to someone who's a live talking person. But of course, staff at chaponline.com or at chaponline.com, there's a contact form that comes in the same place, or inbox us here on Facebook, or comment below if you're on YouTube or Spotify. I know you can send messages and stuff on Spotify or out there too. So we're out there. We are here for you to reach out to us.
And what are the hours? When can we talk to people live?
Well, that's a great question. So we don't have anyone who's in an office. We are all volunteers. So there's never anyone actually sitting at a desk. So most likely when you call us, you will get an answer machine and a call back.
Yes.
So obviously it would be daylight hours. It's kind of like how it goes.
So
So we
leave that
have,
message. Don't get discouraged.
yes, yeah. So if it takes a little while, it's not that we didn't get it. It's just that, like with the staff email, I actually don't, I'm typically the one that responds to it. I don't get to it every day. Now, that's another place where if you want to tithe your time, we are looking for people to answer emails and phone calls, and that type of thing is very helpful. Or even on Facebook, if you've been around the block a few times and you feel comfortable with the law and encouraging people in what you're doing. In other words, if you're a mentor, you can sign up to be a mentor, or you can and sign up to answer emails for us and stuff like that too. But yeah, we're all volunteers. We are here for you. We might not respond immediately. If we do, then you're very fortunate and God meant for that to happen. But yes, yes. So we will get to you. You do not fall into the cyber hole. Well, sometimes you fall into the cyber hole, but we know you're there. It just takes a little bit of time for us to get back to you sometimes.
Perfect. So I'll say it again, chaponline.com/donate.
Donate. Yes. So this has been fun, Ro. I really enjoyed talking about these things with you and sharing some things. We've had a great conversation.
Yes, ma'am.
So, you know what? I didn't even have my potential show schedule. We were going to tell people what's coming up, and I don't know that I have that. I am going to be. You're
I
going to
feel like
start
you're
seeing. You're going to start seeing stuff from Ro. Everybody
yes,
out
yes.
there. So next week, I do believe I'm doing a Q&A day. I am. Next week, I'm doing a
Yeah.
Q&A day. And we're going to get Rose stuff out there. I'm thinking maybe even this coming Thursday, you'll see a video from her. So keep your eyes peeled. And then, yeah, so just Tuesdays and Thursdays, be looking for stuff. And it'll be on Facebook. It'll be on YouTube, be on Spotify, and wherever it is that Spotify puts things. It's all over the place. Which I
Right.
hadn't noticed on Spotify. We've had people that listen from like Germany and other places. So it's not just the states that are listening. So that's really
That's
encouraging.
right.
It's really encouraging. So, okay. Anything else to share before we
No
say our
final
goodbyes?
thoughts.
Okay, wonderful. So thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. I know we talked a lot today, but there was a lot to share and there was a lot to encourage you with. So thank you for tuning in. And like I said again, I'll be back on later today. And then next Tuesday, well, this Thursday, you'll see some Ro out there. And then next Tuesday, I'll be back with your questions and answers. So if you have questions out there, please write in and let me know what they are. I'll be happy to answer them next Tuesday. So see you later, everybody. Have a
Okay.
great, great week. Take care. Bye now.
Bye.